4 health experts in Comal County are warning that the coronavirus is spreading locally through patients with no symptoms. Hill Country reporter Leah Durain takes a look at this worrying trend.
The health department is keeping track of a lot through this pandemic, and one statistic is starting to stand out.
What we're seeing is about 20% of our cases are asymptomatic, which is quite alarming because a lot of the people we're talking to either have no symptoms or they just thought they had allergies.
Researchers are busy with contact tracing while the case count in Comal County is reaching new records. But their percentages are similar to what all of Texas is experiencing with the coronavirus crisis right now. New Braunfels Mayor Rusty Brockman is encouraging individuals and businesses to help slow the spread, saying, quote, "While life is starting to get back to normal, we all need to recognize it is a new normal. Masks, social distancing, and diligent hand washing must be part of our everyday routines. Putting an end to this virus is up to all of us." Public health staff and other medical experts in the area have been meeting with industry leaders and even individual business owners on best practices moving forward.
We are doing our best to answer those questions and get them the guidance that they need.
Residents with questions or who need to book an appointment for testing can call the health department. Frazier says the phone lines are often busy, but staff will use lunchtime to return voicemails.
I just want to encourage people not to stop calling, just to keep trying.
Drive-through testing sites are expected to swab close to 450 people in Comal County this week. Since the start of the crisis, 277 tests have been positive, with 151 recoveries. 119 people are currently sick. 5 are in the hospital.
We encourage people to continue to follow the CDC guidelines of social distancing, using face covering, and maintaining good hygiene practices.
I'm Leah Durain, the KENS 5 Hill Country reporter.